welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all the subscriptions that I have received so far. You subscribing to my channel is really helping me grow this channel and helping my reach, even as I have this edifying and inspiring conversations. So if you have watched this video until this very second, please do subscribe and hit the notification button. Every time I upload a video, you are notified. So for today's video, I just really wanted us to come here all relaxed, nothing complicated, bare face, and a cup of tea. I love tea. And yes, so we are going to be having a story time. If you haven't watched my last video on raising awareness on pregnancy loss, please do watch that video, because this is a continuation, or rather part 2 from that video. So as I had stated in my previous video, today I will be sharing my stillbirth story. You have no idea how many times I have tried to get myself to record this. It's been a fail, and today I am ganged up to make this work, and I ask for grace and strength to actually do this video and put through this video. For those that may have had questions and have failed to ask, this is my story. I am owning it. That's part of my journey, and I hope that it will minister to any other person out there. There's really nothing in our lives that we can encounter that God cannot pull us out of. This has been the worst and the most devastating thing I have ever experienced in my entire existence. Every story that is attached to your life, every happening that is attached to your life is predestined, and there's purpose that can be birthed out of it. So personally, I have decided to turn my pain into purpose, my hurt into utmost love. That love is practically creating a legacy for our son. That love is putting out information, and really it's also just brought a level of knowing and awareness for me that life is really short. And so before I ramble so much, because I often usually have so much to say, let's get right into this. This story time is really going to be emotional, because I really don't know how this is going to go, but I am a warrior and I am here to conquer this. I'm here to share my story, my experience, and hoping that it will bless one other person or 2 or 3 or the whole world entirely. We do good because we want to change the world, right? So before I grow old and gray, I give myself permission to share this part of my life, to put it out there in the world, that it may change lives and it may change the world. I don't want to look back and have no detailed memories of what I encountered, because as I grow, I learned that the mind is one that can betray us a whole lot. Everything remains in the subconscious, and we remember what we can remember. We sometimes remember what we want to remember. So this is for me, this is for my family, and this is for the entire world. So on Friday, September 4th, I remember waking up that morning. The day went by really normal, like any other normal happy day. But one thing that I do remember is I thought a lot of pressure in my abdomen. I felt really heavy, but I guess that was due to me getting closer to my due date. So Zayden was scheduled to be born on the 7th of September. So I went about my day that day. 10 p.m. at night was when I realized that I had not felt any movements. I remember getting up, coming to the kitchen. I had some ice cream and cold water in hope to trigger something. I walked to the bathroom, and I remember sitting by the edge of the tub, and I didn't want it to be what I thought it would be. I remember praying so hard in that very moment, it was a short, intense moment. I remember praying so hard, and I remember holding my belly and just shaking and saying, Lord, please make my baby move. And after that, I decided to rest. So I fell asleep. So at 1 a.m. in the morning, I suddenly woke up and I still didn't feel anything. Tried to call my doctor, but it was really late at night, so he couldn't pick up. And my husband equally had a work trip. So in that moment, I did leave text messages. At about 4:30, my doctor called me and he asked if I still had not felt any movements. And so he told me that he would be heading to my house. So by 6 he was here. I remember opening the door and he came with a metallic portable Doppler, and so I lay down on the bed and he started to like just he started to just like go around my stomach and going like trying to find a heartbeat, trying to hear something without saying anything. So I remember asking him, saying, what's going on? You still can't hear anything? Then he says yes. And asking him, saying, what's going on? You still can't hear anything? Then he says yes. And in that moment my heart sank. I can never have a deep explanation for the level and intensity of pain, um, of losing a life that you were feeling seconds ago. My heart sank. He went on to say, let's go together to the hospital so that we can have a scan done, in hope that if he was going to find even the slightest heartbeat, he was going to immediately take me into theater and hopefully save the baby. So we drove to the hospital, got to the hospital, and while we were on our way, because it was really early in the morning, so while we were on our way to the hospital, he called the radiographer and told him to set up everything. So immediately we get there, there would be no delays. When we got there, when we got to the hospital, we found the radiographer had not yet arrived. So he got the scan machine and tried to scan and check, and he still couldn't get anything. And in that moment, I still was praying and believing that what I was feeling inside wasn't it. So just a few minutes later into him checking, the radiographer walks in and he took over. So he started to check, and they're there while he's checking. Him and my doctor are having conversation that I really couldn't even get, or I really couldn't even understand. And so in that moment I was slowly getting agitated, I was slowly getting angry because I wasn't being told anything. That's how he went on to explain how there was no heartbeat, and oh god, everything in the brain had shut down. And yeah, he was there, and yeah, he was there in my uterus, laying lifeless. Um, they tried to search for, in that moment, they tried to search for potential cause, because I did ask that what has happened, because I didn't understand. They went on to check the potential cause, and they really couldn't find anything that and they really couldn't find anything because nothing was showing on the scan. And because that early morning I was there alone, he went back to suggest that he would bring me back home and get in touch with my family. By the time he was dropping me back home, my family had already reached home. Um, I thought, firstly, I thought like I let myself down. I felt like I let my family down. I felt like I let my baby down. Um, I felt like I failed walking into that door. I couldn't stand to look at anyone. I remember walking straight to my room. My sister helped me get myself together. My doctor went on to explain what had happened, and then he went ahead to suggest the mode of delivery, which he had suggested induction, waiting until the labor started on its own, or going up for a C-section. So the route that I chose was going up for a C-section. I don't even remember the explanation concerning that, but anyway, we went ahead and opted for a C-section. So that Saturday, I spent almost the entire day at mom's. I really just needed time to, I don't know, I really don't know if it's time to process or time to say goodbye, or I don't know, but I spent the entire day laying on the bed crying and praying for a miracle. I remember in that moment, because I'm one person that lives that lives in the moment, and I want to experience moments and create memories in that moment. And I remember creating this particular video. I created this video because
This
I
video was
really was believing God
interesting.
for a miracle, and I was hoping and praying that once we go into theater that I would receive the miracle. Everyone around me was praying and believing with me. That evening, rather, we came back home from mom's, and I went straight to freshen up. After freshening up, whew, I was devastated to say the least. By evening, I was numb. We got in the car and drove to the hospital. Walking into the hospital, I found the doctor was there and everybody who was there waiting to go into theater, waiting for me in there. I was so calm. I sat and I was given the spinal injection and down onto the surgery bed, and the procedure started. And as the procedure started, it was so quiet. The procedure itself was so smooth. I didn't feel any pulling and tugging of any sort. It was so smooth. And at one point, I felt like I was about to pass out. I felt so lifeless. And one thing that I knew from the time that I was told there was no heartbeat, that whole day until going into surgery, I knew that I wanted to create memories for my son. I didn't know that I would be here talking about this right now, but I knew that I did not want to forget. I didn't want to forget what he looked like. And so I remember asking my doctor to create memories for us. And he and the nurses were kind enough to take videos and pictures for us. And I am so, so grateful that they did that. But I didn't get to look at them immediately, but over time they've served their purpose. Over time they've brought me closure. They've helped me in my healing, and that memory for me lives on. So after they delivered him, they had him cleaned and dressed up, and they brought him to me because I wanted to hold him, I wanted to feel him, I wanted to know what he looks like. After that, they went ahead to close up the incision, which was done so perfectly. We were in hospital Friday to Friday. Initially, we were supposed to be discharged after 3 or 4 days. Firstly, because of the nature of how everything happened, and we really just needed time, and I personally needed time to process. But in that moment, I was so devastated. If I had a choice, I would have stayed in the hospital, because every thought that I had connected to leaving the hospital and doing life after didn't make sense. The thought of walking out of that hospital without my child was painful. The thought of coming back home after carrying 9 months without my baby was pain. The thought of meeting people that saw me pregnant was pain, and starting to face the world. It's been a process, guys. It didn't take one day. go. It's still a process that is ongoing. But one thing that I'm grateful for is how real God is and how He can carry us through situations. I'm also proud of myself for standing my grounds and the ability to just be aware of what it is that I want in moments. It's really helped me. It's helped me attain peace. It's helped me attain a level of wholeness. It's helped me to attain acceptance, and also for the people around me who have respected my decisions to step back, respected my decisions to just come to a place where I feel that I have life and I have life to give. And truth be told, God has been gracious. God with me. Some cards are so bad that they can't be traded. Like this one, I wish it was a card that could be traded, but certain things can't be taken back. But it's also brought me to a place where I have a different perspective in connection to life and how I want to live my life. It's like facing death in front of you and being given another chance to live, which is why I am so passionate and ready to just live life fully, because I could have equally been gone together with my son, but I am still alive, and I believe that that should serve enough purpose. There's so many experiences and so many assignments prior to this that God had placed on me, and guys, I have been running. There are so many things. I remember, uh, if you know me and if you know Kingdom Flare, and if you know Kingdom Flare, God put Kingdom Flare on my heart about 7 years ago. And one thing that I remember He told me was transparency. But that's something that I have struggled with. But coming to this place right now, really, I have nothing to lose but fulfill. This section happened on Saturday night. Sunday morning, they organized Zayden's burial. A little white coffin was purchased for him, and I remember the coffin being brought. The little white coffin with gold handles and pretty gold accessories being brought into my hospital room, and the nurse coming into the room holding him so close, so close to her, like he wasn't even lifeless. Thank you, Nurse Dorothy, for being selfless in that moment. She came and she gave him to me because I still wanted to look at him, to say bye, and we prayed for him. My husband and I prayed for him. I kissed him on his forehead. His forehead was quite cold. I took my last pictures with him, which I live by now, and they're so precious because I would want his brother to know that he had a little brother. And my husband laid him into the coffin, closed it up. I was given this huge bunch of flowers that I had to lay on top of his coffin. In that moment, all I could say was, this is so wrong, because it felt so wrong. It felt so wrong. And I went ahead and lay my flowers on his coffin. So they left for the burial, and I remained back at the hospital because remember, I had undergone a C-section and I was still healing, and obviously I couldn't be moving. So that was done, and the process now began. Hi guys, once again, this video might be a trigger to many, but my hope is that you'll find closure, you will find healing, you'll find peace, the only peace that comes from God. Know that you are not alone.